Hello folks and welcome to some HiFi news. A generous portion of HiFi news. Low calorie though, so don't worry too much. Before we go any further though, trivia. And I'm going to change the subject. This particular theme is American studies. And the question this time around is, it's fairly long, but bear with me. In the years before the Beatles came along, just 3 British acts had enjoyed #1 hits in the Billboard charts. Thing is, they all happened in the same year, and they were all instrumentals. 2 of the records were also UK #1s. The third was made by a band leader who was born in London and then emigrated to the United States. Can you name all 3? One more time. In the years before the Beatles came along, just 3 British acts had enjoyed #1 hits in the Billboard charts. They all happened in the same year. They were all instrumentals. 2 of the records were also UK #1s. The third was made by a band leader who was born in London and then emigrated to the USA. Can you name all 3? As ever, please, no research on this one, no Googling. I'll have none of that in this classroom. Thank you very much. Can you just have a little think? Can you have a muse? Stretch the old brain cells, and I will tell you the answers at the end of this video. Until then, folks, HiFi News. And we begin this news feeling a bit grim. Grimm Audio, actually, and the PW1 phono preamplifier. I always wonder about Grimm Audio. Was it a wise move to call themselves Grimm Audio? I know it's a bit funky, it's a bit playful. I don't know, some people might get the wrong idea. Anyway, their choice. Apparently arriving in the USA next month, not too sure about everywhere else, April 2025 specifically. The PW1 is a solid-state phono amplifier that supports both moving magnet and moving coil. Settings can be changed via dip switches behind a little hidden panel, although at a price of $4,900, I would have expected something a little more user-friendly. You will find single-ended and balanced outputs, a built-in low-noise linear power supply made by a specialist third-party manufacturer called Amplimo, who I've never heard of before. Tell me if you have, I'd love to know. Anyway, this is why an internal fitting of the power supply was possible, that low, high-frequency noise thing. You also get a copper-shielded interior. Next up, we have a competitor to Dolby on the spatial audio scene. Audioscenic revealed its Amphi Hi-D spatial audio standard recently. That, at least initially, is aimed at laptops and monitors and gaming tech, I suppose you would say. So the company has been working, understandably, with people like Dell and Razer and Acer, all these laptop guys. AV is next on the list though. The company is looking to remove the sweet spot from the current tech, basically to provide a wider and deeper 3D experience. And it's using something called Positon Adaptive 3D, which sounds extraordinarily Star Trek, I reckon. So what is Positon? Well, it's a kind of machine learning thing that looks to learn about the alignment of your ears relative to the audio device to improve sound, cancel crosstalk and reduce distortion. They're also pushing something called beam forming, one word, beam forming, which handles the size, the shape and the direction of the sound. I'll put a little link below so you can check it out for yourself. Next, we have a DAP, a digital audio player from, how do you pronounce this? HiBy? HiBy? I think it might be HiBy, you know. Anyway, HiBy R6 Pro Max, that's the name of this little box. And it uses dual ES9039 MS Pro chips and 4-channel independent power supplies supporting a whopping DSD1024 plus PCM768 and MQA16X. Did someone boo at the back there? On the front, you can see a 5.9-inch 1080p IPS screen with a resolution of 1080 by 2160 with Corning Gorilla Glass on the front for protection. Inside is a Qualcomm Snapdragon 665 processor sidled up to 6 gig of RAM and 128 gigabytes of storage space with support up to 2 terabytes. Android 12 is powered by a battery that can be fast charged and has an overall playtime, depending what you're doing, of around 9 or 10 hours. Bluetooth is two-way and it supports UAT, LDAC, aptX, transmit only, aptX HD, transmit only, AAC, SBC as well. USB support includes the latest, is it the latest? 3.2? I think it is, all the way down to 2.0, spanning 147-ish millimeters by 75-ish millimeters by 21, also 22-ish millimeters. And it weighs in at exactly 425 grams. Connections include 3.5mm and 4.4 Pentacon. Prices, I got two. I have £849 here in the UK, or US dollars, $999. Next up, do you use JPLAY, J-P-L-A-Y, JPLAY as a digital music file player? I use one of the competitors, Audiophile, but I could have used JPLAY. I don't even know why I picked Audiophile. I think it was a toss-up between the two. JPLAY looks very nice indeed, a good quality alternative, I have to say. If JPLAY is a favorite of yours, and I know it's a favorite of many of my colleagues, then you'll be happy to learn that the app is now integrating HQ Player within. HQ Player then, well, it's a kind of a software processor that upsamples and filters digital music play. JPLAY kind of acts as a useful front end for the thing. It's also added a few Tidal and Qobuz quality of life features, upgrading interface options, stuff like that. Anyway, check it out. You have to pay for the thing though, it's not free. Yearly subs are $49 and you can have a lifetime license for $199. Now I want to talk about FiiO again. I always talk about FiiO. FiiO are such a productive company. I don't know how they do it. They push out products by the cartload every single month, or it seems that way. Anyway, I have my eye on a network player, which I might be reviewing. I need to talk to one or two people. I saw this little box. It's called the S15, by the way, at a recent HiFi show in Bristol in the UK. End of February, that's when I went. And if I saw you there, by the way, and I did see a couple of people, hello, lovely to meet you. And what else? What was I going to say? Anyway, so I saw this box and I thought to myself, because that's what I do. And I might be reviewing it. Anyway, what is this thing? Well, as I say, it's a network player. The price, I'll tell you the price now. It is either £999 or $999. Guess what the euros are? Yes, that's right, 999 euros. And I suppose you could say it's a rival to the Cambridge Audio CXN100, which is a little bit cheaper, depending where you are. Anyway, the S15 features an AK4191 and AK4499EX DAC setup. I much prefer the AK line of DACs to the ESS line of DACs, personally. Now, I know ESS is a favourite of many, maybe yourself, but I do prefer the AK stuff. Anyway, a couple of those in there. This new music streamer is capable of streaming files up to 32-bit 384 alongside DSD256. It includes FiiO's custom digital audio purification system called DAPS, which aims for usual thing really, reduced jitter, improved sound, that kind of thing. You get the usual streaming standards like Roon Ready, Apple AirPlay 2, Tidal, Spotify, Amazon Music and Deezer, and you get Bluetooth streaming with aptX Adaptive and LDAC. As for sockets and the like, well, you get optical coax HDMI inputs plus coax optical HDMI outputs. On the front is a 20cm touchscreen. You can, if you wish, use the FiiO Music app instead. And that, my lovelies, is the end of the show. Bring on the dancing girls, and I'll give you a final song and a quick tap dance. Or maybe not. What I might actually do instead is give you the answer to the trivia question, which was, let me remind you, in the years before the Beatles came along, just 3 British acts had enjoyed #1 hits in the Billboard charts. They all happened in the same year. They were all instrumentals. 2 of the records were also UK #1s. The third was made by a band leader who was born in London and then emigrated to the USA. Can you name all 3? And the answer is Acker Bilk's Stranger on the Shore, the Tornadoes' Telstar, and of all things, The Stripper by David Rose. Rose had been born in London but moved to Chicago as a child. All 3 songs went to the top of the US chart in 1962. Compare that to the Beatles, who had 6 #1 singles in the US chart in 1964 alone. Initially, when I researched this question, that particular song really surprised me. I would never have got it if somebody asked me. I would have got the first 2, possibly. And I just find it odd that the top of the Billboard charts should be The Stripper. I find that slightly bizarre. Anyway, before I go, thank you very much for all your support. Very much appreciated indeed. Keeps me going and all that jazz. And I'll be back with another one of these very soon indeed. I hope you have a good week or weekend or whenever you're watching this, and I hope to see you in the next video. Until then, folks, bye-bye for now.